Good morning and welcome to Rob's Random Builds. Today I'm going to try and make a knife in a way I've never made one before. So I'm going to try and be using the method of stock removal. I want to try and make a knife because I've had a few different things delivered. I've now got some new grinding belts which go to 1000 grit. I've got some new sanding paper which goes to 7000 grit. There's been a lot of hand sanding going on which I'll probably get really fed up of, but why not? So with the stock removal, what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to get a piece of paper, I'm going to draw the knife plan on there and the size that I want it. Now I'm going to draw that template onto my steel and then cut that out with my angle grinder. The next stage after that is I'll use my grinder, get it into the shape that I want it properly, like just tidying a few little bits up. Then I'll go through with the heat treat. So I'll put it in the forge and give it some normalization cycles. I'll be doing it 3 times, which will just help the grain of the steel slightly. So I'll be heating it up to red hot, letting it cool naturally 3 times. I will give it a quench in my oil, so it should harden it up. But the steel then will be quite brittle. Now we're putting it in the oven for 3 hours for the tempering. So I'll be putting the oven to 200 degrees, waiting for it to heat up. Put the knife in the oven, leave it in there for an hour, bring it out, let it cool naturally. Do that 3 times. So when it comes out of the oven, I'll be bringing it back into the shop and I'll be grinding in my bevels. I'll be making the blade finish, so I'll be grinding it down onto my 1000 grit belts. And then when that's done, I will get the hand sanding on the go of the blade and I will hopefully maybe take all the scratches out from the grinding down to the 7000 grit. It might polish it up nicely, it might not, we'll see how it goes. I've got a small buffing wheel which I might be able to attach to the grinder onto the drill using a bowl and some description, so we'll get to that when it comes to it. And then that'll hopefully maybe give it a little bit of a mirror finish, but it's not going to be a huge knife. But we'll see how it goes. And then when that's done, I'll be putting the handle on it. So I've got some little pieces of wood to put on it, on the handle. So we'll see what it looks like. I've got another bit of metal for some pins, so I'm actually going to put proper pins in this time instead of screws like on the machete. So we'll get into it now and we'll have a crack. So this is the design of the knife that I'm going for. The handle's about 5 inches long with 2 pins in it, and the blade's about 4 inches long, with the whole bottom side of the blade being the bevel and the cutting edge. Right, so there's my template drawn onto the metal. Here's going to be the handle. This is going to be the blade. And all the whole edge of it here is going to be the spine of the knife, so it's a long straight line. So now it's time to get to the angle grinder and cut these little pieces off and see how it looks. Right, so I've cut the shape out and I've like smoothed it off and neatened it up a little bit. So that's the shape of my knife is going to be. So now I'm going to grind in some rough bevels on my sanding belt that I've got on using the jig that I made, which I'll post a link to now. Right, so there's my knife clamped onto my jig. Now I'm just going to do some rough bevels each side, and because I'm using a jig it'll be the same angle each side, so hopefully they should be the same and quite even.
I feel paralyzed.
Okay, so one side of the grind went absolutely fine with a nice straight line. The other side, not so good, as you can see. The reason is the plate on the grinder when I was doing the second side slightly moved because my screw came slightly loose. I didn't realise. Right, so because of the issue with the grinder we had, I've got a new grinder on the way, which should be here by Wednesday next week, which will be about the 24th, I think. So I'm just going to put this project on hold then until my new grinder arrives. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.